If you are a Jira Data Center user, then I have a really cool plugin for you today. We're going to be taking a look at threaded comments, a better way to comment inside of Jira. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Drop a like if you get value out of this video. And don't forget to check out the links down below, as you're definitely going to want to start a free 30-day trial to this Data Center app. All right, let's jump into the documentation first, walk you through some details, and then I'm going to show you a cool demo of how this works. Right, so here we are. This app, Threaded Comments for Jira, is made by my good friends over at Votask, who's sponsoring this video. And you want to go through this documentation so that you can understand how to configure it, because there's a couple of extra little steps that you're going to want to be aware of. But in general, like any other app, you go to the Elastic Marketplace, you're going to be putting in Threaded Comments for Jira, try it free, again, get your 30-day free trial, and then you need some slight modifications. Now, I recommend that you essentially go through this documentation and turn on or off the different features that are available. As you can see here, there's quite a few. You can enable threaded comments for all projects. You can enable sorting by most liked, enable reply notification, and so on and so forth. So take a look at these once you get the app installed, just so that you tweak it the way you need it. Now, you also have the ability to nominate or pick a project that does support the threaded comments, and you can also disable projects if you don't want them. You also have the ability to configure some notifications, choose your comment box position, and a couple of other details that you're definitely going to want to look through. Now, once you kind of fine tune this and you got it just the way you want it, then it's really, really easy to use. So let me go into Jira. And again, keep in mind, I am going to be in the Jira Data Center. So my UI, if it looks a little different, it's because I'm not in the cloud. I'm actually in the data center, and we are going to be walking you through an example there. So inside of Jira, you can see that I already have an issue open, and nothing really changes at first. You're still going to add a comment the way you normally do. So I can click on this add comment button here and type in, "This is my comment." Now, when I click add, the comment is going to be added just like it normally is. If you've ever used Jira, then you know exactly how this interaction works. And if anybody ever wants to come in and add an additional comment, they will simply click on this write a comment and they can type in a different comment. But that's not what threaded comments is all about. In threaded comments, we get a little extra on the UI. And as you can see here, we have a little reply bubble. And if I click on here, then I'm going to be able to say, "This is a reply to this specific comment." And when I click on add, notice that this comment is now nested. It's threaded, if you will. And I can expand it and collapse it. I can expand and collapse the entire thing. And what this enables teams to do is three different cool things. Number one, we can track approvals in our comments. So if your team is, discussing designs or discussing something very, very important, all of that can be tracked in a single thread within that comment, and we can be on the lookout for approvals from a specific manager or a specific stakeholder, and all of that context is preserved within the bounds of that comment. Number two, international teams can leverage these threaded comments in order to, again, preserve context. Sometimes we like to either do the comments in Jira, which they get kind of missed, right? Because as the different teams are in different time zones, there's different interactions happening. And so by the time a team that was offline comes online, that conversation could have evolved drastically. And so being able to go find that context awareness again and try to regroup can become challenging. It becomes even harder if these conversations are happening in an external tool like Microsoft Teams or Slack, because everybody around the world is dynamically talking and you're losing the context. But by using this threaded comments here, we're able to keep the conversation in that specific context preserved, and your offshore teams or whoever's offline at the time can always come back in and see that entire history and see the preservation of how that conversation and that specific comment thread evolved over time while they were maybe asleep or out of office. And then finally, from a software team's perspective, using these threaded comments allows you to go deep in the technical discussion without having to deviate so much from, again, that context awareness, right? We're able to not clutter the entire ticket with a bunch of comments, right? We're still going to be able to put a lot of comments, but they become threaded. You can collapse them and preserve that conversation and not overwhelm the rest of the conversation, because since all of these are collapsible now, we don't have to have this giant like book that we write in comments, right? Everything's going to be nice and nested within that threaded comment, and you can have all those technical discussions and again, be context aware, but also be friendly to the rest of the users that are referring to this ticket so that they don't have to see everything, right? It's all collapsible and it's a little bit more efficient that way. And that's pretty much it. Threaded comments is a very simple yet effective app that you should be enabling in your Jira Data Center. I really like, because if you haven't caught on by now, I'm a huge fan of context awareness and preserving the context of a ticket, because I'm a firm believer that when your team has to context switch, they have to go to another tool, or they have disruptions or interruptions in their train of thought, that this can be very detrimental to preserving the integrity of that communication, right? That train of thought kind of gets disrupted and you end up with a subpar experience, because now your team is not 100% engaged with what they were doing, and they have to like, either think about it again or, wait for another inspiration or something like that. So it can be kind of detrimental. And I really like that, again, preserving our threads and preserving our context is such a great way to ensure that the team is aware of what the conversation is about, because especially in written language, tone and intention is hard to perceive when you're just reading, right? And so being able to help and keep it all together, I think is a really good idea. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you smash that subscribe button, drop a like if you got value. Don't forget to share this video with all your other data center friends, because it is very rare when I drop a data center video. So make sure you show these videos some love, share them with everybody you know, and I'll see you in the next one.